Hey everyone. I never thought I'd be writing here, but here I am. My wife, let's call her S, and I have been married for 7 years. We met in college, dated for 3, and tied the knot. For most of that time, I thought we had a solid marriage. We traveled, laughed, and built a life together. But the last year or so, something started to feel off. She grew distant, more secretive with her phone, and started working late more often. I brushed it off as stress from her job. Stupid me. Started small. She'd roll her eyes when I asked if she wanted to watch a movie together. Say she was too tired. She stopped initiating any affection. Kisses were replaced with quick pecks, hugs with side pats. At first, I thought maybe I was doing something wrong. I even started cooking dinner more often, cleaning the house, trying to take things off her plate. But no matter what I did, she seemed annoyed with me, like my existence itself was a chore. S's phone became a permanent fixture in her hand. She used to leave it lying around, no problem. Then one day, I noticed she started flipping it over, screen down, anytime I walked in. She also changed her password, which I only found out when I tried to look up the weather one morning and couldn't unlock it. When I asked her about it, she laughed it off and said, "Oh babe, you're being paranoid. It's just work stuff." I wanted to believe her. One Friday night, she told me she had to stay late at the office for some quarterly reports. Around midnight, I realized she still wasn't home. I called her. No answer. I texted her. No response. She finally walked in at 2:30 a.m. Hair messy, smelling like cologne that wasn't hers. I confronted her right there, but she rolled her eyes and said, "You seriously think I'd cheat on you? Grow up. My boss had us all in for drinks afterward. You're so insecure." I felt crazy, like I was imagining things. The real proof came 2 weeks later. She left her laptop at home, and I needed to send myself a file. When I opened her email, I saw a thread with a guy named D. The subject line literally said, "Last night was amazing." My stomach dropped. I clicked. There it was. Graphic details, pet names, plans for their next meetup. She even told him she wished she had met him before she married me. My hands shook so hard I could barely close the laptop. That night, I confronted her. She walked in all casual, asking what was for dinner. I sat her down and told her I knew. First, she laughed in my face. Then she said, "You're pathetic for snooping. If you had been a real man, I wouldn't have needed someone else." I'll never forget those words. I'd been killing myself trying to make her happy, and she threw it back at me like I was worthless. Instead of apologizing, she doubled down. She said I had been neglecting her emotionally, that I never made her feel alive. She twisted everything until I started doubting myself. But then she slipped up, said something about a trip she took with D a month ago when she had told me she was visiting her sister. The lies started unraveling fast. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. Anger, humiliation, sadness. It all hit at once. I remember locking myself in the bathroom, just sitting on the floor staring at the tiles, wondering how the woman I loved could do this to me. Nights became torture. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her words, kept picturing her with him. The betrayal cut deeper than I thought possible. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I found out who D was. He wasn't just some random guy, he was my old friend from college. The same guy who was the best man at our wedding. We had lost touch over the years, but apparently she didn't. The emails revealed they'd been sneaking around for over a year. The knife twisted even deeper. When I confronted her again about who it was, she completely lost it. She screamed at me, told me I was a loser, that D was real man material. She even said she was considering leaving me for him, but hadn't decided yet. Imagine that. She hadn't decided yet, like I was just a backup plan. Something in me snapped that night. I packed a bag and left to stay with my brother. Staying at my brother's place gave me space to think. The first morning there, I woke up and half expected a text from her apologizing. Instead, I got a message that said, "Don't bother coming back until you're ready to act like a man." That was it. No apology, no shame, nothing. I realized she didn't even care about what she'd done. She cared about losing control over me. That hit harder than the cheating itself. When word started spreading, the fallout was wild. Some of our mutual friends sided with her, saying I was airing dirty laundry by leaving so suddenly. But then I told them who Dee was. Silence. You could practically hear jaws hitting the floor. My mom was furious. My dad told me to lawyer up, and my brother was ready to drive over to Dee's place and handle it. Meanwhile, her parents tried to downplay it, saying things like, "Marriage has ups and downs, you should forgive her." Forgive? For a year-long affair with my best man? No chance. About a week after I left, I started to spiral. I wasn't eating, I was barely sleeping, and my brother had to remind me to shower. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with him. I kept asking myself over and over, how did I miss this? How could she look me in the eye every day and lie so easily? One night, I caved and called her. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe some shred of remorse, maybe an apology, maybe her saying she wanted to work it out. Instead, she picked up and immediately said, "What do you want?" "I'm busy." Busy. I could hear music and laughter in the background, and then a man's voice, his voice. She didn't even bother hiding it anymore. I asked her point blank if she was with him, and she said, "Yeah, so what? He actually makes me feel something. You should thank me for not wasting more of your time pretending." That sentence nearly broke me. Not only was she cheating, she was reveling in the pain it caused me. Almost like she wanted to grind me down until there was nothing left. The next day, I got a text from her saying she wanted to talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop. When I got there, she showed up late, waltzed in wearing a new outfit I'd never seen before, all dolled up. And then, this is the kicker, she sat down and said, "So, I've decided I'm going to be with Dee, but we should still stay married a little longer so I can keep the health insurance." I swear, I almost laughed right there in her face. She wanted to keep me as her safety net while she played house with my ex-friend. When I told her no way in hell, she leaned across the table, narrowed her eyes and said, "Then you'll regret it. You'll be broke, lonely, and no one will want you." That was the exact moment the last piece of love I had for her died. I walked out of that coffee shop shaking, but for the first time, I also felt a spark of anger that wasn't directed at myself. I realized I wasn't crazy. I wasn't pathetic. She was cruel, manipulative, and willing to burn everything down just to get her way. And I decided then and there, I was done being her backup plan. The morning after that coffee shop meeting, I woke up with a kind of clarity I hadn't felt in months. Instead of wallowing in what she'd done, I finally felt like I had a direction. I was going to protect myself, my future, and everything I had worked for. First thing I did was call a lawyer. Best decision I've ever made. The lawyer laid it all out, because she was the one who cheated and I had the proof, emails, texts, timestamps, everything. I actually had a strong position. He told me to stop communicating with her directly and let everything go through him. That advice saved my sanity. Here's where things got messy, though. As soon as she got wind that I'd spoken to a lawyer, she flipped. Suddenly, she wasn't the confident, smug person anymore. She started blowing up my phone with texts like, "We can work this out, you're overreacting," and "I never meant to hurt you, you're still my best friend." This after she'd already declared she was with Dee. The audacity was unreal. But it got worse. She showed up at my brother's house one evening, pounding on the door, crying so loud the neighbors came out to check. My brother told her to leave, but she kept shouting things like, "He'll never survive without me," and "You're nothing without me." The mask had completely slipped. Everyone could see it now. This wasn't a woman who made a mistake. This was someone who thrived on control and manipulation. The real kicker? A few days later, Dee himself called me. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity won. He started off trying to sound apologetic, saying he didn't mean for it to happen this way. But then, halfway through, he had the nerve to say, "Man, you should understand. She was miserable. You didn't take care of her the way I do." That was the moment I realized they were both cut from the same cloth. Selfish, entitled, and absolutely shameless. Instead of arguing, I just hung up. And weirdly, that silence was more powerful than anything I could have said. For the first time, I felt like I was finally taking my power back. The divorce process wasn't pretty, but it was necessary. My lawyer helped me lock down my finances, and I filed immediately. She tried every trick in the book, crying about how she didn't have anywhere to go, threatening to drag things out, even claiming I was abandoning her. But the evidence was solid. The emails, the texts, the late-night disappearances. It all painted a crystal-clear picture of what she'd done. In the end, she didn't get nearly as much as she thought she would. When the papers were finally signed, I can't even describe the mix of emotions. There was sadness, of course. 7 years of marriage, a decade of history, gone. But there was also this enormous relief. Like I'd been carrying around a boulder on my back and finally dropped it. The weight lifted, and I could breathe again. The months after were about rediscovering myself. I reconnected with old friends, the real ones, not traitors like D. I started running again, eating better, and slowly my confidence came back. One night, my brother and I went out to a bar, and for the first time in forever, I actually laughed without forcing it. Felt strange, but good. Here's what I've learned, and maybe this will help someone who's reading. Red flags are real. If your gut tells you something's wrong, listen. Don't let someone gaslight you into doubting your instincts. Cheating isn't about you. I beat myself up for months thinking I wasn't good enough. The truth is, people cheat because of who they are, not because of what you lack. Don't be afraid to walk away. I thought divorce would be the end of my world, but it turned out to be the start of a better one. Document everything. If you ever go through something like this, keep your evidence. Protects you. If I could give one piece of advice, it's this. Never let anyone convince you that you're worthless. The person who betrays you wants you to believe that so they can keep control. But the second you step back and see them for who they really are, you realize you're stronger than they ever wanted you to believe. And to anyone out there who's dealing with betrayal right now, trust me, I know how much it hurts. But I promise you, there's life after this. A better life.